So my name is Lealoha Timbaga, and I am here co-hosting with Amanda Ybanez.
So yes, my name is Amanda Ybanez. I'm a lifetime resident, born, raised, and live in Kalihi. I did live in Palama, which is Palama housing. So the Kalihi community is near and dear to me, and there's a lot of history there. So as this series or whatnot, whatever you want to call it, evolves and we continue to have episodes, you'll learn a little bit more about me, the concerns, as they reflect and we reflect the community.
I actually met you this year, right? And I still wanted to know more about your background. I want to know more how long, like you've told me you've been in public service for over 15 years. And I just want to know all, or at least like the main ones that, touches your heart. I want to know at least what has...
The highlights.
Yeah,
the highlights. And there's many over the many decades, because it's not just something that I've recently been working with the community. I've been doing a lot of work in the community for such a long time, many, many years, decades in fact. And here are some of the highlights. Some of which, when I worked for Local 5, which is a labor union, and worked with the hotels, a place that was near and dear to me because I'm from Oahu, right? Was working in the North Shore community with Keep the Country, Defend Oahu Coalition, and helping that community and the workers at Turtle Bay maintain a livelihood, a livable wage, benefits, and also to help preserve the natural coastline for future generations so that people can fish, they can swim, and the environment is pristine and untouched. And the animals and the native plants and the native marshlands will be preserved for future generations. And that goes back to the Neil Abercrombie governor time when we worked with that. So I am very used to walking the community, speaking with people, understanding where they're from. And that's essential, Lee. That's really essential to be able to connect to people. And this is not a perfect world. Look at where we live at right now and how unaffordable everything is, and the issues and the concerns that everyone has, and we share that together. So being able to walk the walk, talk the talk. I'm not a perfect person. This is not a perfect world. If I make mistakes, anybody makes mistakes, help me become a better person by helping us do that together, find solutions together. So working with Local 5, working with the community, that really gave me the background and helped me to be able to connect to people on take people with where they're at and don't judge them. Don't judge me for my mistakes. Don't judge me for the things that I am imperfect. Because again, this is an imperfect world, everyone. People of Hawaii, this is an imperfect world. We live in paradise, but sometimes we can think to ourselves and look at our wallets, or look at our grocery bills, and look at the other things and the homelessness and the crime and the things that we see when we open our door. That is not a perfect world. But how do we help each other and look for possible solutions together? So that's part of the work that I have done is with Local 5. That's part of the major things. And even in Waikiki, with all those strike lines, because I also at one time, and I don't want to age myself, but here we are, I worked in the hotels too. So I know how hard it is every single day to work your heart out and to go home and you're so sore and you're so tired. And how do you still take care of your family? How do you still take care of the kapuna that you have to take care of, right? Because we have elderly family members. Welcome to Hawaii, multi-generational homes, multi-generational lives, right? So that's a little snippet on what motivates me, is also what actually I'm inspired by. That this is an imperfect world. How do we connect with each other in a meaningful way? And that's just the beginning of it. Other things I can talk forever and a day because this goes back in decades. A lot of the things I'm also concerned about and I want to speak to the community with, and I want them to join me on it, as I will be talking and walking the talk and talking the walk, and keeping it real with people. If there's a natural disaster, let's go over, there's been many. Geez, was it 2018, the ballistic missile crisis?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Everyone's like, oh my God, there's a nuclear bomb coming. That was a crisis, and how did people respond? you know. And then we had 2020, the COVID situation, and everybody was out. For me, I was like, well, it's all the way in China. Who cares? Until one day I was walking to class and everybody was leaving campus, and I was the first one to figure out that Armageddon was happening. It was actually the COVID. And I remember the first thing that came across my mind was go get toilet paper. And all the toilet paper was gone. I was the last person to get toilet paper on the shelf at Long's Drugs in Hawai'i because I was working at one of the schools there. And so COVID happened, then we had the wildfires, and the wildfires impacted my family personally. I had to actually walk my family through how to survive it as it was occurring, you know. So I'm also touched by the Lahaina fires. My family was there on the day that it was happening. So as we go along these segments and these episodes, I'll be able to unpack each one that I'm talking about and take my time to talk about it, how that really shaped my views and what inspired me to run for this position.
If you don't mind me asking, could I ask more about, I guess, like your family or like how you grew up?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Yeah. Because you talked about, you grew up in, was it Mirai's housing or one of similar housing in Kalihi, but also Lahaina. I didn't know your family was, or at least part of your family, I guess, is in Lahaina currently, actually, right?
So let me unpack that a little bit too. So where did I grow up? I grew up in Old Palama Housing. Old Palama Housing is right across the street from Lanakila Field in Kalihi. So I come from very meager beginnings. My dad was an immigrant from the Philippines, no education, hardly spoke English, you know, and everybody came together. My family struggled through a lot. I grew up in public housing. I think I'm the youngest janitor in Hawaii because I started cleaning classrooms to help pay for my own education since the first grade. Oh. So I was like cleaning classrooms, and in order to pay for my education in private school, because I'm the youngest out of 5, I cleaned classrooms all the way until the 12th grade when I graduated from Sacred Hearts Academy. So I'm very lucky. I'm only the second person in my family to be educated. The others, just the natural attrition of having a large family and growing up very poor and I'm not upset about anybody, and I don't hold it against anyone, and I don't say I'm better than anyone, or I'm just a human being trying to make the best that I can on every single day, including today. So that's why I'm so strong on, if you have the drive, you can be anybody and anything that you can be. And I'm speaking to everybody that's listening right now, that no matter where you're from, no matter what you're born into, no matter what environment you're in, even at this moment, you can change that around. You can change that around.
I love that. I gotta, if it's okay for me to share, I just remembered, you said first grade you were cleaning classrooms in order to pay for your own education. That reminded me of my mom. She did the same thing when she was young. I think she was young, like her older sister, she got help to go to school, but she didn't, but she wanted to go to school. She wanted education, and so she sold like marungai leaves, like it is back in the Philippines, right? So she was selling and doing her own, business in order for her to get herself into education as well. Yeah. So that's what, like I told you, that you remind me of my best friend, but you also remind me of my mom in that way.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Lei. Yeah. What makes Kalihi so unique to me, and the reason why I love Kalihi, I always will love Kalihi, and the people of Hawaii, is we're so resilient. Again, circling back to all the natural disasters, from a tsunami to earthquakes to wildfires to a ballistic missile to even most recently, the federal shutdown. And can that happen again? Yes. One thing I know for sure, that on this great island with all these awesome people, and yes, are we not perfect? Nobody is. But when natural disasters happen of any sort, and I've named how many, we're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and we are it. If something happens at any moment, at any time, if a hurricane of a Category 4 were to happen, we have to help each other. We have to help ourselves, right? When is the next shipment of food gonna come in? I don't know, but let's hui together and let's figure it out together. So I'm also knowing that Hawaii is full of resiliency. Our community is full of resilient people, and there's nothing they can't do, there's nothing they can't achieve. And so I'm also for building hubs. And for Hawaii to be sustainable, to have our government and our people to have their own farmlands, to grow their own cattle, to grow their own food, because we need to get back to that. We need to get back to the basics. If something were to happen, how do we survive? We can't just be dependent on the outside world. A huge Pacific Ocean, it's going to take forever for any shipment to come here if natural disasters actually took place. So I'm also for, because we're so resilient, we want to utilize that kind of wave and that kind of strength to, again, write legislation. And that's why I'm involved too, is because I've been so lucky out of 5 children to be one of the few that was able to get educated and able to give back the way that I am. And my family supports me, my friends support me, my community supports me to be able to make that positive difference. And the word is positive because it's so easy to go around and be negative. It's so easy. It's like bubble gum on the floor. If you're not looking, you're going to step on it, and that's going to become a part of you because that's what negativity does. But how can we help? Help me. Like, oh, did you see something on my shoe? Help me. Help me. Help each other. And that's what we need to start learning is how can we better help each other to succeed together, right? That's my thing too, is I like to have that for my community.
Definitely. So I did want to ask further, because actually what you've talked about, what is important to you is connection and even build a hub within the community. I did want to ask if there were other things important. What else is important to you, honestly, other than?
Oh gosh, I think when I walk my community every single day, I walk my dogs, and I love animals, by the way. I love animals. I love talking to people. I appreciate and I embrace everything. I think every moment is a blessing. Every moment's a blessing, and life is short. So when I walk the community, you know, sometimes things have to face you as it comes to you, right? So nobody's perfect. I'm going to always emphasize that. Nobody's perfect. Sometimes there's people that come up to me and talk about the game rooms. Let's keep it real, right? Let's keep it real. Do we care about that? You bet. People that are working 2 or 3 jobs, they're just exhausted. They come home. They should feel comfortable walking outside of their homes. They pay so much, they live so hard, they give back to society, they come home to their families, and they give so much of themselves. The last thing you want to worry about is, oops, the street light is on. I got to go inside because I don't know if there's going to be gunfire today, or I don't know if there's going to be a huge fight right outside my house. You know, or what if my kids get run over because somebody was on drugs and they weren't just paying attention and they were speeding on a 25 miles per hour zone? Because in Kalihi, there's so many schools. It's a high density area. And what does Kalihi Palama encapsulate? Let's talk about that. So House District 30 encapsulates from Hickam Air Force Base all the way to River Street in downtown Chinatown, River Street. And it is Makai, Oceanside to School Street. That is a huge district with a huge population. And there's a lot of things going on there. A military base, we have a state park, Sand Island, right? We have Old Triple C, which is a jail, right in the middle of it all. And we have a lot of homeless, we have game rooms, we have the high density for schools. So can you imagine, let's say that in the same sentence. A jail, game rooms, a lot of schools. I don't think those 3 things work together very well in the community. I think it is by every right that people want to have less crime and more vibrancy, more affordable housing for workforce, that people don't have to keep on pushing out into the boonies and spend 3 hours in traffic just to make it to work one way. And then when you're done with work, another 2 hours, and that's lucky if you don't hit traffic or if there's a freeway accident like Carmageddon that happened a few years ago. And I think there was 2 people that died because Carmageddon was so bad. So how are we going to also address the transportation situation, the economic situations that we're all facing, the population boom, the homelessness explosion? Let's talk about that for a second too. I remember growing up, and again, meager beginnings, public housing. I grew up. I'm very used to working with what you got, that's it, let's be happy. You want to play with a spoon, we'll call that a toy, sounds good. You know, how do we help each other? Where did this come from? There was so much homeless now. people of Hawaii, how did that happen? Because I remember growing up, again, meager beginnings. I'm not the richest person in the world. By far, I'm not. How from two people I can remember, one person when I was growing up, 5 years old, living in Old Palama public housing, one woman was a psychiatric patient that just didn't want to take her medication, and she was roaming the streets, la 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 la, you know, and the other person was a Vietnam vet. And I guess, you know, people that make it through wars, people are vets we have to appreciate, because people who make it through wars and see some atrocities and have to go through that should have the care and the treatment and the medical and the support when they retire, when they become vets themselves. Our military should be supported, because that individual roamed the streets and he was forever changed because of the Vietnam War. So we have to take care of our veterans. But going back to two people, wow, I think there's like, what, 50,000, 30,000, one too many people that are homeless. What's going on, people of Hawaii? We have to look for solutions together. How is this happening? Is it because of the unaffordable bubble that we're all living in, with the real estate being way too expensive for any family to afford, and people of Hawaii are having to move off of this island in order to buy a home, start a family? Just the basic things that we take for granted right now, we can't have reasonably, and that needs to change. So I want to be part of that conversation with the people of Hawaii. Let's look for solutions together. Let's keep it positive too, because we are not each other's enemy. Nobody is each other's enemy. We're all in this together on this island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Let's start looking for solutions together.
And speaking of solutions, I feel like what you've been doing for 15 plus years, you've been trying to be part of that solution.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to talk about specifically what you have done. I know you mentioned, you just talked about homelessness, but I guess, yeah, because one question I did want to focus on is how you plan to help and keep helping our one Kalihi.
Yes.
Right? You talked about the hubs, legislation. So I just wanted to know what the hubs, if you're working with Serene, I don't know if that was the same thing or.
Yeah, there's several different layers that we're talking about right now. So going back to helping the people of Hawaii, the skyline, which is the rail, is coming through town. Is it going to forever change the landscape and the horizon? You bet. So if it's going to get built, which is going to alleviate the traffic, yay! But what is going to get built around that? Oh, that's where I come in. And I'm willing to have that conversation, and I've been having that conversation with private landowners in and around Kalihi Palama area, because the rail line's going to come through, and everything that gets built around it should be fit for the needs for the people. Have it be workforce. Let's start that conversation, people of Hawaii. What if you gotta write it and it's gonna benefit you to get into work, but what's gonna be built around that? Let's be part of that conversation, which I have been since 2012. Before the rail even broke ground, I was attending board meetings in Waipahu to see how that was affecting the community, to see how the community was engaging with their elected officials about the rail line, about the skyline, how it was in fact infecting businesses, and what is going to be good, the pros and the cons. Everything in life has pros and cons, people. But we have to make sure that if something's going to get built, it's going to get built towards our needs and for our future, not against us. But again, that starts with the conversation of having the right elected officials reach out, speak with you, speak with the powers and the developers and the people that be, and to make sure that if we're going to be paying for certain things, such as the skyline and the rail, perpetually, forevermore, and whenever that's going to be finished, that's another conversation, that whatever is getting built is going to support the people of Hawaii for future generations. And that is the type of conversation and legislation I want to make sure that is built around the transient-oriented development, around the skyline, to make sure that we're just not riding into the future, but we're building a future for ourselves and for future generations forevermore.
Yeah. And I actually did want to also ask about, because I just thought of it when you brought it up with the schools and kids, right? We've talked about already, I know you've talked about there's a lot of things are happening in Kalihi, right? We have the schools, OCCC, the rail happening.
So many
but
things
I want to go back,
happening.
if it's okay, I want to go back to the kids, our future, right? That this is our future, like future you and me, right? That's gonna be who's gonna carry on our legacy if we ever, you know, that's who's gonna continue our work. So I just want to know if you have any, I guess, plans for the keiki
Yeah,
kids.
so
in
and that's
general.
exactly what I'm talking about is
Yeah.
when people want to have families and want to start families, right? We got to have a place where we can raise our children. And what better place is Hawaii? I don't think anybody should have to be pushed off this island. In fact, not off this island yet. You're pushed onto the beaches because you can't even afford the rent. You can't afford to make a payment on a mortgage. So people, local people are forced out of their homes. They're forced into homelessness. They're forced into kind of slumlord situations. Let's name it Union Plaza in downtown. People are forced to have to live in situations that they shouldn't be, or live on the beach, or live in tents, or be homeless. So the unaffordable bubble is affecting not only the people and the families and adults, but it's affecting the families, the children. There's more children than ever that are living in tents. And this is found actually all over the island. And you can find them everywhere. I mean, even in Waianae, on the beaches and tents, there's children, there's keiki. 20 years ago, that was not the case. Like I said, let's age myself a little bit. In the 80s, 70s, I knew two people. What are we doing for the keiki of Hawaii? The more affordable we make it, and the more that we fight in a positive way, in a direction to look for agreements and legislation and agreements for developers to come here and not build more expensive multi-million-dollar kaka'ako condominiums that do not serve the people but are only investment for overseas foreign powers. We want to build things that are for the local people, that our keiki can live in, that we can raise a family in, and not have to be, I'm sorry, but we have to move to Utah, or we have to move to Oregon, or we have to move to Vegas. There is no reason why people have to move unless we're properly together and collectively addressing that situation. And that's done by, again, having the right elected officials, the right people with the right mindset that knows, like for me, a lot of my family members and a lot of friends that I grew up with in school, they all moved away.
Right.
A lot of people have moved away. So what do we want, people of Hawaii? We have to make a decision. Kalihi is called the edge. It's the edge of everything. We are literally, seriously, figuratively speaking, on a precipice, on the edge of making either the right decision or the wrong decision. And you have to make a choice. Choose wisely people like me that have lived that legacy, that have seen the history, that have lived the struggles that you're dealing with every single day. I'm not here because it is comfortable. In fact, I thought about it many times not to run, because I have to put myself out there with all these struggles. But you know what? That's the very reason why I should. I got pushed into this situation because we cannot keep on doing the same thing over and over again, the same status quo, electing the same type of people, saying the same thing, or there's going to be more people that are homeless. The unaffordability of everything will continue because there's no change. We have to have change, positive change, and people that are open to many ideas and willing to work with anyone in order to make the solutions happen. So yes, I do believe in CERN, I do believe in CERT, I do believe in people having hubs. In and around, every single part of the island is unique from the last. From Waianae to Wahiwa to Kahuku to Waimanalo to Hawaii Kai and urban core Honolulu. We are all unique. Our geographical areas are unique. If there was a tsunami that were to happen, the people in town, in downtown, maybe shouldn't leave. They should go vertical. If your building is higher than 10 feet, you should go vertical. You should not leave. If you're in a flat-lying area, like Ewa Plains, then you should evacuate. So certain areas should also be trained on emergency personnel. So I do believe in CERN. You mentioned that, and that's a program at the Kapilani Community College, and they have outreach of creating resilient hubs and sustainability and ongoing training and education so that people, like of all the natural disasters I had just named in the very beginning, are able to respond more effectively, collectively, and smartly. Because if a tsunami were to actually happen, which is just a matter of time, because it has happened in the history of the past of Hawaii, that we are well prepared for it as a community to better address those kind of situations. So I do believe in that funding.
And for I was actually referring to Serene for the hubs, the resilience hubs.
That's it.
Oh, is it the same
that
thing?
is.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I got them confused, but okay.
Yeah, and CERT, which is Certified Emergency Response Team member, which I am also. I have many hats.
Yes.
I'm trained also by the Emergency Management Agency in order how to respond in an event like a fire or a natural disaster, and there's people that are injured. I believe more people should be trained on how to respond to that. And that is speaking to the Lahaina fires. On the day that it happened, I had to literally be on the phone and walk my family through how to survive that fire that day. And there were many atrocities, and it took a long time. It took a very long time for any government person, and I don't want to bash anybody either, but the more our community is trained to respond, the better off and less lives will be lost. It just equates to that. And don't think that the government officials, there's only 22 ambulances, people of Hawaii. There's only 22 EMS ambulances on this island that covers 1.4 million people on this island of Oahu. If there was a natural disaster of a massive magnitude that were to happen, there's not enough ambulances. So please, please, please get trained on CPR and other first aids. As the kapuna and the baby boomers retire and people age out, we all age. If we're lucky to be alive and healthy enough to age, you're going to be lucky enough to have ailments and disabilities later on and medical conditions. So please get the training that you need in order to help even your own family or your neighbor when they need help.
Thank you for that. I did want to ask or wrap up if you had any final words or sayings, or if any last words though, as you want for the community.
This is one of many episodes that you'll hear about me and what is valuable, and what I speak about. It doesn't come just from me. These are the great ideas and conversations that I've had with a multitude of people, from the hotel workers to just people in the community, to so many conversations, because I talk story, I vala'au with whoever is willing to vala'au and talk story with me. So the things I have shared with you and I will continue to speak about are the very words, some of it is from the people that have shared with me their own concerns. I share them as it comes from me too. I share the same concerns as many else have. So when I speak with the words that also are backed up from the people that have spoken to me, that share the same sentiment. So please support me. And through these episodes, you'll hear more of what the work and the conversations I've had with people and the work that I've done in the community.